Hey beautiful people, your boy Kakiso M, and with me here I have the Canon EOS R6 Mark II. I'm going to share with you 10 things that makes me believe that this camera is get towards hybrid. In fact, it is get towards video. If you check most of the cameras now, especially at this price point, they are actually competing more on the video space. We know that lots of brands, they actually can make great imaging camera when it comes to stills photography. So now the war is in the video space. So I'm going to share 10 things that makes me believe this camera is actually one of the best, if not the best, at this price range. So then you make up your mind. So number one, simple thing, very simple thing. This camera has a switch which is for stills and for video. That means you get two different menus. So if you are on the stills and then you change the menu, that menu stays for the stills, and it does the same when you are on video. That menu will only be for video. That is actually a step forward because it makes hybrid shooting quite a breeze. You don't have to, when you move on to the video side or the still side, you don't have to fiddle with the menus again. So number two is the codecs. So Canon has put 10-bit 422 onto this camera. You can shoot 4K up to 60 frames or 50 frames, 50/60 frames, and using the full width of the sensor. That means you will be shooting from, you'll be downsampling from 6K, which will make your video quite detailed. Another thing is that they have added slow motion. As much as you can shoot 50/60, which is slow motion at 4K, you can actually shoot full high definition at 180 frames per second. Then you find something on this camera that you do not find on any other camera or mirrorless camera, even DSLRs. You find false color on this camera. I don't believe, I've never come across a mirrorless camera that you find false color. So if you don't know what false color is, it's actually showing you an exposure on your scene. So instead of having a histogram or peaking, which those are more of a two-dimensional representation, and sometimes they will give you the overall, especially the histogram will give you the overall exposure of the scene. With false color, you get different colors on your scenes, showing you according to the meter whether you are exposing well your subject, and it will also show you where you're clipping, and also where you're clipping the blacks and the white. So with different colors, you'll be able to see that. Canon have added recording onto both SD cards. So this camera comes with dual card slots. So you can actually record your video on both the cameras at the same time. That means you are having a backup inside your camera. So something that I have seen on the cinema cameras, I've seen it on C70, on C200, I believe it is also there. It's when your lens cannot focus, then you can actually set it so that it stops hunting for focus. So on the cinema cameras that I have mentioned, what I have seen is when you have sort of auto face, you can actually set it where it focus only onto the face. So if it doesn't see the face, it doesn't focus. If you are the subject and then the camera is focusing on you and it can see your face, once you leave the scene, it doesn't rec focus or hunt, so it just leaves the plane there. When you enter the scene, or if you have something on the plane of your face, that thing will remain in focus when you leave the scene, and that is when you leave on the plane, not going forward or backward. So this camera has almost a similar thing, but this in here is not really about the face, but more of when it cannot focus, it doesn't have to hunt, it just leave focus right there. Another thing that they have added is that you are able to record onto the camera and also onto the external monitor at the same time. So this is what I am doing right now. So there is a limitation onto that, which is you are not able to use your inbuilt monitor, you'll be able to use your external monitor to see your menus. But you will be recording both on here internally on your SD card and also onto the external monitor. While we are talking about monitors, if you do have a recording monitor, you can actually even record your 6K ProRes RAW. So I haven't tested how it looks, but that is an option that you have. If you want to use a crop part of the sensor, you can actually output 3.7K ProRes RAW. So if your workflow is RAW, you have that option. Coming into the power, how do you power your camera? So in order to be able to shoot longer, you definitely are going to need something to power this camera. So you are able to power this camera using a USB-C that is provided. There is a port that is provided, but from my test is that you cannot use any other power bank. I have tested with my normal power bank that I actually use, that has a dummy battery, and it didn't work. So I first tried to put the dummy battery in, it didn't work. Then I've put a USB cable from that power bank into this camera, it didn't work. The only time it worked was when I was using a 45-watt PD power bank. So I do believe that you must have something around 45 watts and upward from your PD power bank, so you'll be able to power this camera. So the way it actually works is that normally on the previous cameras that I had, when you put the PD power bank, even not the PD power bank, it will actually charge the battery, and then while you are using the battery onto the camera, your power bank keeps charging the battery. But the way I have seen it doing here, it actually grays out the battery, which tells me that it is powering the camera directly from the power bank. I guess that's why you need a high power bank, and it must have power delivery. So the other thing that I've seen was that when I pull out the power bank, then the battery kicks in immediately. So then you are able to shoot longer. So those are the 10 things that makes me believe that this camera is here to kill the competition. I can't wait to actually take it out on a client gig, and there I will be under pressure, and then I will see how this camera performs. Of course, it will be me who's under pressure, but then when you are there, there's lots of things that happens that you will find that maybe this camera is not for me, because I cannot do 1, 2, 3 quickly. But from what I have tested, I believe this is the camera for me. So this is your boy Kagiso M. Please subscribe to my channel. I'll be doing a lot of review onto this camera. I'll be going out in the field, I'll be doing client work, and I will give you more reviews and also tips and tricks on the Canon EOS R6 Mark II.